Okay, so I've recorded this video once already, and my microphone on top of my camera is apparently just real bad. So we're gonna do it again, and I'm honestly just gonna max it and relax it this time. I'm talking into a mic, you can hear me now. I'm just gonna lounge with it, because this is I have a lounging energy about me. I just want to pop on and chat. I hadn't been on to chat in a hot minute, and I love to run my mouth, canonically. In case you have noticed, I am wearing new glasses. Hashtag not sponsored. I just went to the optometrist. Last time I popped on here to run my mouth, we were chatting about Rope Salesman, like I'd finished Rope Salesman, and I was gonna get that out to beta readers, or to, I guess, they're technically alpha readers, because this is not something I would send to, for specific beta reader feedback. This is more like a structural pass than it is anything else. So it's in readers' hands right now. It's in 3 people's hands. I'm so scared for every fiber of my being. Every time I see a little new comment on your document on Google Docs, it scares me every time. But I think I don't have full feedback yet from all of them. I gave them till the end of this month to do feedback, and I don't have full feedback yet from all of them. I have feedback from one of them, and then one other one is halfway through it, I think. But so far the feedback's been good. I think the thing that is strongest is the characters, and people like the rope salesman, the detective, which is good, because if you don't like him, then you really, the whole thing's kind of moot at that point, right? So people like him, which is really, really good. The plot is not as strong, and I know this. The plot needs some restructuring for sure, but that's what they're for. They're there to diagnose all of that. So, he's going through, the rope salesman is kind of going through some stuff right now. He'll be back later. While Rope Salesman is with readers, I was going to re-outline and start redrafting my other novel, which is my steampunky 1850s Boston murder mystery novel. I was going to crack open that document and see what's going on. And I did in fact open the document. Applause, thank you. I did not like what was going on. I didn't like it. I re-outlined the whole thing, and I changed some character motivations, and I spent literally an hour on the phone with my girlfriend just saying the plot to them. And they just kept asking questions about, are you indecent? I spent an hour on the phone with my girlfriend, just literally pacing back and forth in my living room, just pacing back and forth and trying to hash out the plot. And I was basically using them as a rubber duck. If you guys don't know what rubber ducking is, it is a method that I believe originally was coders, people who did computer code, is if they had a problem in their code, they would speak out loud everything that was going on in the code, just go from top to bottom, and they would say it to a rubber duck that they kept on the desk, because the part of your brain that processes what's coming out of your mouth, it makes your brain think about it differently when it is coming out of your mouth versus when it's just sort of rustling around in your head. So it is a great problem solving method. Highly recommend having somebody that you just sort of call and be like, hey, can I just speak at you for half an hour? Very good for the creative process, for the mind, body, and soul. So I did all that, and I replotted and structured the whole thing. I got into a better place with structure-wise. I replotted the entire thing using the 7-point plot structure, which is basically, it's Dan Wells, I want to say, and basically it's for every, you have your hook, and then you have a plot twist and then you have like a pinch, something that makes your characters do something unexpected. Then you have like a midpoint, and then you have another like twist, like a little pinch, and then you have another twist, and then you have, you know, like a conclusion. And you can just sort of like take that plot twist and pinch method and just sort of like copy it out as long as you need to. But he recommends like 7 or 5, I believe. And I did all of that. Like, I put all of it into 7-point structure. You know, I laid out all of the twists. I laid out a lot more of the background info, and I figured a lot of it out. And then I realized last week, as I was like trying to start to like actually write it, as I was trying to start writing it, I was like, I don't know if this is anything, actually. So the Stolen Spark is going back into the cooker for a little while longer. I'm just gonna let it percolate a little bit. I have another idea that I want to work on right now, and then I'm hoping that by giving my brain another main problem to solve, it will let me percolate this like secondary background problem of the Stolen Spark a little bit better. Because I don't know, just something about it wasn't working. I didn't know the characters good enough. I wasn't giving them enough breathing space. There's just something in the Stolen Spark that just fundamentally wasn't working. So I'm gonna give myself some time to figure out what that is. What isn't actually working here? Because like there's something. That's the thing, is like when I have written enough stories and enough like scripts and short stories and, you know, like I've told enough stories over time now that I have a pretty good instinct for when something just isn't working for a reason that you can't like iron out. Like I ironed out the main part of what wasn't working, which is that I think I didn't have a strong enough reason for somebody to murder the main person they were murdering. And so I hashed all that out. There's a whole other like backstory reason for the murder occurring now, which is good. But now I'm like, was there actually some other problem that I needed to solve? And so I'm just gonna let my brain cook on that. My brain's pretty good. I usually work on 2 to 3 things at once. So by giving myself another thing to work on, I'm really, I think, doing better work on the Stolen Spark than if I was just trying to like bang my head into a brick wall of like, why isn't this story working? I want to be clear. My goal for Q2 was to send the rope salesman for alpha reader feedback. I did my first goal, which was sending the rope salesman to alpha reader feedback. And that was sort of in 2 goals in 1, because I wanted to finish my rewrite of the rope salesman by the end of April and then send it for feedback. So that's like a big goal that I did. And then I think my other goal, I think I worded it like I wanted to crack open that document and re-outline it. So hey, good news. I have done that. I think I need to just set it aside and let it cook a little more. It just needs to percolate, I think, is the thing. And so that brings me to what I've been doing the last couple of days, actually, which is handwriting something new in a notebook. Oh, hang on. I've been handwriting something new in a notebook like I'm in 12th grade again. I do have stickers on the front of this notebook. Hang on, get it in the light. I do have stickers in front of this notebook. This is characters from Dimension 20's Fantasy High. I believe these are my kids. These are my kids from Fantasy High. If you're also a Dimension 20 lover, talk to me in the comments down below. I have opinions. A lot of them. And I have literally just been... It's so hard to do this while I have I've literally just been like... I don't know if you can see that all that well. I've just been handwriting. And I started cooking this for a few reasons. And I feel like once I tell you what I have been cooking and what ingredients brought me to that place, you will realize why I've been cooking what I've been cooking. So, let's begin with kind of my least favorite, most annoying man in history, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. So I started reading, I got back into reading the Sherlock Holmes books. I finished up, I think it was the memoirs of Sherlock Holmes. Now I only have, I think, 3 left. I have The Valley of Fear. I'm almost done with that. I'm like 2 pages from the end. And then I have The Last Bow and The Return of Sherlock Holmes, something like that. I have like two more short story collections. And, okay, some backstory here. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle hated Sherlock Holmes. He did not like this detective he made. He wanted to be famous for like his more like historical writing, is I think the thing. But for those who don't know, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle killed off Sherlock Holmes. He gave him Professor Moriarty, which was his greatest rival, the second greatest mind in all of England. And they both went over a cliff together, which is normal straight guy behavior. Super normal behavior, and people have been normal about them ever since. So, but that's like some backstory, right? So that is to explain to you why halfway through The Valley of Fear, spoilers for a book that was published in like, I want to say the 1890s or the very early 1900s. If you get spoiled for a Sherlock Holmes book, that's your fault, okay? Listen. But halfway through The Valley of Fear, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle drives me crazy. Halfway through The Valley of Fear, he does this thing, and he does it in his other books too. He does this thing halfway through The Valley of Fear, where like, basically, like they've solved the case of what happened in The Valley of Fear. They've solved it. They're like, we know who did it, we know who did the murder, we know why, we know where they are. And then, unrelated kind of to the murder, somebody comes out of a place that they have been hiding in, and they're like, I've been hiding here for the last 3 days, and I have had nothing to do but write. So I wrote the whole sordid tale of what I did in my past to explain to you all how we got to this specific place and time. And you're like, okay, cool, I guess, whatever. And then our in-universe narrator, Watson, frames it like, do not think that I intrude one story before another is finished. As you read on, you will find that it is not so. And when I have detailed those distant events and you have solved the mystery of the past, we shall meet once more in these rooms on Baker Street, where this, like so many other wonderful happenings, will find its end. This is on, like, page 112 of a 200-page novel. And then for the next 100 pages, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle does just sort of, like, make you read his fun little historical fanfic. Now, that is one ingredient that got me cooking. I was, like, thinking about it, and I was thinking about how fucking funny it was that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle does not give a fuck. That he hated Sherlock Holmes so much that he killed this man. And that he was like, I want to be famous for my historical stories instead. And when he couldn't be famous for just purely his historical stories because everybody liked Sherlock Holmes, he was like, well, fine, I'm gonna make a Sherlock Holmes book and you're gonna have to read my historical stories. It's something very funny to me, and it's a rhetorical, like, it's a storytelling device that I don't know as though we get a whole lot of anymore, because I feel like novel storytelling in some ways has, like, flattened. Like, people are using a more common chronological storytelling method than, like, the, hey, we're gonna go back 20 years in the past and don't worry about why yet, just kind of go with me, right? So there's that, right? There's that where Arthur Conan Doyle and his little historical fanfic, whatever. The other thing that really got me cooking, there's a few other small things, but this is the other thing that really got me cooking. I don't know if you can see this. This is the novel Murder in the Family by Kara Hunter. And this is a really fascinating book. I read this book, I think 2 or 3 years ago. But the really, really interesting part about A Murder in the Family is that the entire book is framed. There's no like prose in this book. Instead, the book is the making of a true crime television show and transcripts from that show. So basically, like, the premise of the book is this famous filmmaker is going back because his stepfather was murdered like 20 years ago, and the case was never solved. And it was a huge like to-do because it was a really dramatic crime, right? And so now, 20 years later, this filmmaker is going back to try and solve the murder of his stepfather. And the entire book, I'll put in some footage of myself flipping through it on screen so you can see it. There's like transcripts from the TV show, there's emails, there's like voicemails from the characters, there's text between the characters, there's so many really interesting ways of telling a story here. I don't know if I've showed you guys this book before. This is The Maid by Nita Prose. I have a lot of things to say about this book, and not all of them are positive. In fact, I think maybe many of them would not be positive about this book. I think the quote on the front, by the way, calling it a delightful whodunit, that is a review by People magazine, is incredibly misleading. I don't really like this book. This book, though, and then also the game The Bed We Made, a much better game than that is a book, by the way. It got me thinking about this idea of like hotels as sort of this like really specific kind of space. And it inspired me to start maybe not like a cozy mystery, because it most certainly is not cozy, I think. I don't know if I can ever be cozy, because that requires you like really like cozy mysteries, like you can't swear or anything, right? That could not be me, can never be me. I do love saying fuck too much, even in my books. But I've been thinking and writing and sort of like developing this mystery that happens in like a ski lodge and resort. And the reason why all of those three very disparate kind of actions, these very disparate ingredients got me cooking right now, is because I do think it would be really interesting. Murder in the Family does it with like a true crime TV show. I think it would be really, really interesting to kind of play with true crime and like vlogging YouTubers. So yes, I am doing a YouTuber mystery. Yes, all of these other things, all these other sources are super relevant. But I'm sort of just cooking right now. I'm really having a good time going through and just like letting my brain take me places. I think this is like the most, I think, fun part of writing a mystery, is that like early stage where you have like some ideas about relationships and motives and clues, but you don't really know, like the crime hasn't really solidified yet. I think this is a really fun time. I'm having a really good time with this right now. And I think I'm just gonna kind of chase this wherever it leads, whether that is like an interactive medium where you have to search through, you know, like newspapers or voicemails or something to uncover the truth. Or if it's a more straightforward book, it just has, you know, newspaper clippings and transcripts and stuff in it. I'm not entirely sure, but I am sure that I'm having a pretty good time, actually. Like, I am really enjoying this kind of just like exploratory, seeing what is cooking in my brain. I need to get back into the swing of writing daily, so I'm gonna start, I think, just writing vignettes or like little scenes. Zero drafting, I guess, kind of. Just kind of getting back in the swing of things because I have not been writing daily like I need to for like a while. So we're gonna kind of get back into it. I'm just gonna see. Sometimes you just need to see where the muse takes you and just go with it, you know? I don't know. I've been having a good time with it, which is weird. It's certainly, I think, maybe more, not low stakes, but it's certainly less like violent than my two other mysteries. Not even violent. Like, somebody does fully die in this, but I don't know. It's a different kind of violence, I think, than like a noir mystery, right? Like, this is like, they're all caught on top of a mountain during a freak snowstorm. They sort of have like happy, like, family meal times. Like, it's almost cozy in a way. But I know the cozy mystery girlies would get in my business if I really fully called it cozy. This is not cozy, it's just, you know, a comfy mystery. My other piece of inspiration for this, by the way, was my beloved Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie. I can't tell you why that one's an inspiration though yet. Cause it's a little secret just for me. Hi, Copy. You wanna come up? Hello, Copy. Hi. Everybody say hello to Copy. I think we'll probably try and do some little, like, writing challenges or something here shortly. Maybe some, like, cute writing vlogs while I bike around the city kind of thing. We'll see. But yeah, I've been just sort of, like, cooking in the background because I cooked maybe too quickly on A Stolen Spark, and now I need to cook less quickly. I'm letting some things simmer now instead of just chucking it in the oven. We'll see how that turns out for me. I don't know. Oh, also, side note, I just finished reading Gillian Flynn's Sharp Objects, and I just watched Gone Girl and the Sharp Objects TV show. And why did Amy Adams not get an Emmy? That is a crazy good television show. Why did she not get an Emmy for that?